guys, and welcome back to my channel. This is March's book wrap up. We are at the end of March. It is actually March 31st as I am filming this video. And we are at another book chat. So, hope you guys are doing well. Hope you guys are enjoying your Friday. Hope you guys find joy in this video. Find some reads that you're interested in. Let's get started. We have 8 books this month, I think. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 books this month. So here's our little stack, but we had some good ones. Like, I didn't have any books that I didn't like, and I think that was the case for last month. I think I'm looking at what I read last month. Yeah, I don't think I had any books I didn't like last month, and the same for this month. Yeah, the hair is shaking, I know. Okay, I didn't have any books that I did not like this month, which is great. We like when we don't have duds, because the duds I usually get be dudding, and they be real duddy. So we didn't have that, but we did have slow burns, and I've never read a slow burn, and I understand why people don't like them. I follow like another person, and they like romance. They do thrillers, but they really like romances, and they're not a slow burn person. So they talk about like they'll read them, but it's like someone doesn't kiss or hold hands until like hundreds of pages in. And y'all, I experienced 2 slow burns, didn't know there were slow burns until I was in them, and I was like, this is not for me. Like, oh my gosh. Oh my god. Actually, you know what? Now that I think about it, I'm trying to look for the book, You Shouldn't Have Come Here. Remember I talked about that book last month, and I said it was really, really slow, like it read more like romance. Maybe that was a slow burn. Nothing on it said slow burn. Like, I feel like the word slow burn needs to be plastered on the back because, well, okay, the second book does say that it's a slow burn, but many of you know, like, I will read the back of the book when I buy the book, but when it's been sitting on my shelf for months, I just kind of buy and build, like, my library. So by the time I get to the book, I don't go back and read the back of them because I like to kind of see, like, okay, do I remember what this one is about just by looking at the cover? And I like to kind of be surprised. So I'm not rereading the back. But anyway, I had 2 slow burns. They weren't bad books, but I just definitely realized I am not a slow burn girl. I wouldn't say I would not read anymore. But I don't know. It's a lot. I think I need to be prepared. And I think because I also ended up reading 2 slow burns back to back. So if I do end up buying 2 slow burns, I will have to definitely make sure that they're not back to back in my list. Like, that will be a day that I have to switch it up because I can't. The first one I read was Mexican. I don't know what is wrong. Mexican Gothic. And it is by Silvia Moreno-Garcia. Now, when I bought this book, this is actually, so I actually bought this book in January. We're actually still in my January stack. And I bought some of those in January, but when I went to the bookstore in Pensacola, I think it's called Bodacious Books. I'll double check to see if I'm right and put it up there, but that's where I got this one from. So I'm like just getting through my January, like books that I bought back in January. So that's why I say, like, I get books and I don't, because I've had them for such a, a couple of months. It's a long time to remember when you're constantly buying them. But anyway, this one is, somebody told me, like, there was another book by this author that was really, really good. So I think I didn't hate the book. It was just slow to start. But I think if I know that going in, next time I'll be a little bit better. I need to make myself a note. But basically, after receiving a frantic letter from newlywed cousin Naomi Tabota heads to High Place, a distant house in the Mexican countryside. Naomi is an unlikely rescuer. She's a glamorous debutante, more suited for cocktail parties than amateur sleuthing, but she's also tough, smart, and not afraid. Not of her cousin's new English husband, a stranger who is both menacing and alluring, not of his father, the ancient patriarch who seems fascinated by Naomi, and not even the house itself, which begins to invade Naomi's dreams with visions of blood and doom. Naomi's only ally is the inhospitable place Naomi's only ally in this inhospitable place is the family's youngest son, but he too may be hiding a dark secret as Naomi begins to unearth stories of violence and madness. She is slowly drawn into a terrifying yet seductive world, a world that may be impossible to escape. So I like this book. So I call this book like the Mexican version of Get Out. Because that's what the hell this book was giving. Y'all, these people were crazy. Like, they were crazy. And I'm sitting here like at the first sign of some foolishness. Because you're going to be reading this and you're going to be like, You know when old boy was in the dream world and Get Out? And he was in that chair? Okay, you got like little glimpses of that happening throughout the book. So I wasn't going to say, maybe, you know, this is back in the 1950s. Get Out wasn't there, so she didn't have a playbook. But that is what this book was giving. I did enjoy it, though. I really did. But it is a slow burn. Like, you're getting a glimpse of things that are happening, that are sinister, that are weird, that she's trying to put together. But this book really does not pick up until close to the end. And then you kind of get, like, why things are happening the way they were. Y'all, these people were just nasty. First of all, there's the high level of... I don't say that on the back of the book, but they was just nasty. And then on top of that, they were crazy. Like the levels that they were going through for, yeah. But I will say, like I said, when it picked up, it got really, really good. It kept me on my toes. I was like, oh my gosh, what is going to happen? Are they going to get out? Are they going to be stuck? Like, is she going to succeed? There is a little bit of a live. But again, y'all know, I'm not a romance girl, but if you throw it in a thriller, I'm good, child. I'm good. I am good with it. So I liked it. Just keep in mind, it is a slow burn. And I thought this artwork was just gorgeous. Like, look at that. Oh my gosh. So I definitely want to read more by this author. She has like I was about to say a ton, but because y'all know I be finding like all the new people. But she has like 8 books, including this one. So she does have other ones. I can't remember exactly the other one the lady told me to read, but this is definitely an author that I would read another book. Hopefully, they are not all slow burns. The next one, the St. Ambrose School for Girls by Jessica Ward. This was another slow burn. And y'all, this is when I found out, like, this is the one that where does it say slow burn? Like, I'm reading both of the back of these, and none of them I see the word slow burn. But, oh yeah, this one says it. It's Lovecraft, which I never watched, but meets the Bronx in Latin America after a slow burn start. Mexican Gothic gets seriously weird. And that is true. This one, I believe, says something about it being a slow burn. But anyway, now this one, I don't know. I think I'm good on Jessica. Like... because even when the book picked up, the things I had already kind of figured, well, if it ain't A, it's going to be B. And I guess there were some moments where I was like, what the heck went on? But it was okay. Like, I wouldn't feel like I need to read another one of her books. Like, but anyway. When Sarah Taylor arrives at the exclusive St. Ambrose school, she's carrying more baggage than just what fits in her suitcase. She knows she's not like the other girls. If her shabby all-black non-designer clothes don't give that away, the bottle of lithium hidden in her desk drawer surely does. St. Ambrose's queen bee, Greta Stanhope, picks Sarah as a target from day one, and the most popular, powerful, horrible girl at school is relentless in making sure Sarah knows what the pecking order is. Thankfully, Sarah makes allies out of her roommate, Ellen Strasberg, a cigarette-puffing, devil-may-care athlete who doesn't take crap from anybody, and Nick Hollis, her devastatingly handsome RA, who's the subject of more than one of St. Ambrose students' fantasies. With Strauss and Nick on her side, Sarah hopes she can make it through the semester, dealing not only with her bipolar diagnosis and a new school and new life at school, but Greta's increasingly malicious pranks. Sarah's determined not to give Greta the satisfaction of breaking her, but when scandal unfolds and someone ends up dead, her world threatens to unravel in ways she could never imagine. The St. Ambrose School for Girls is a dangerous, delicious, twisty tale that will stay with you long after you turn the last page. It didn't stay with me. Like, once I closed the book, I was like, I'm ready to move on. But so this book is set like in the 90s, so I will say things that were good without giving it away. It is showing you or kind of talking about how things like bipolarism was dealt with. Definitely sexuality was dealt with then. And I think that because as you read the book, you know, throughout it talks about hope and change, and we know things are not great when it comes to mental illness or people with different sexualities and things like that. But you do kind of like have that in there, and it's kind of a look back at how they had to deal with things back in the 90s. But yeah, I could do without this. I feel, yeah. I mean, it was okay. Like, it didn't read bad, but I feel like for me to enjoy this, it would have had to have picked up a little bit earlier. So, wasn't a dud. I'm just like, it was what it was. Where You Find Her by Abbott, Khaler. Now, this is, y'all know I'm all like, if you just tell people the truth in the beginning, like, you could avoid, like, a whole lot of foolishness. And this was one of these books. I get what she was trying to do, because when you get into, like, the story, it's like, oh, my goodness. But sometimes if you just open up a little bit better, you can avoid some of that stuff that happened in the middle. But this is a really good one. Gives cult. So there's some cult action in this one, so just be prepared for that. It's a really, really good book. I definitely enjoyed the ending. I'm kind of confused about the ending because I'm still trying to figure out, or somewhere in the book, I'm just trying to figure out if someone actually died or not. So if you've read this, hit me up, because I'm trying to figure out if somebody was made dead or if they're still alive. Because the way they wrote the book, the only way it could have worked is if they ended the person just by the description of how the door was working in the scene. And when you read it, or if you've read it, you know. So I need somebody to tell me, because I was talking to somebody in the bookstore, the person at the bookstore I go to, and I asked her, I was like, so did so-and-so die? And she was confused too. But I do think it was a really good book. I think that this particular person I'm talking about, and once you read the book, you'll know, I'm like, they was a piece of work through the end. But overall, I liked it. I was definitely shocked at something that happened at the end, but I'm like, at least you know, without giving it away. I don't want to give it away. But when it happens, you'll know, and I didn't feel bad about it, because I'm like, But they said it, though. They said it. So let me just read it. Okay. When 22-year-old Kate Bird wakes up from a coma, she sees a mirror image, Jude, her twin sister. Kat remembers nothing except Jude's face and name. As Kat tries to relearn her history and identity, she trusts Jude will provide all the answers. But as months progress, Kat begins to fear that maybe Jude has been lying to her. Recruit, hunt, perform, or perish. Growing up in an isolated community, the girls studied poetry and literature, but also played dangerous games of cunning and savagery, games with dark lessons that followed them into adulthood. Now when Kat's mind is a blank slate, Jude invents an idyllic childhood in the hope of erasing the darkness of their history and all the threats it still holds. As Kat pulls at the threads of Jude's elaborate tapestry, those threats draw closer. When the past and present finally converge, the twins must risk everything to save their unique bond and ultimately each other's lives. Intensely creepy and beautifully written, Abbott Khaler's Where You End is an unforgettable tale of intrigue, revenge, and moral ambiguities in the quest of redemption. Girl, I can't read. I can't read. This one was really, yeah, I did enjoy this. And this one, like, as you meet the characters, pay attention. Because I will say, every time I made a connection, because this book does move from, like, past and present, but it moves from past and present between Kat and Jude. Because Kat is the one that was in the accident. So every time, or through most of the book, when you're looking at Kat, you're only looking at the present. But when Jude is telling the story, you're getting the past. So it has two perspectives, past, present. And as you like get to know people, because this girl had really planned this out. I'm not gonna lie. Shout out to Jude. And you start putting the pieces together. It is a really, really good book. But like I said, sometimes you just need to tell people the truth up front. And then you learn a lot about these twins that you don't necessarily know in the beginning. You think it's one way. So I definitely would read something else by her. I don't think this is a debut. I don't know. But I'd read that again. Then we have Everyone on This Train is a Suspect by Benjamin Stevenson. Apparently this was a big book that came out. I actually have a signed copy. He wrote Everyone in My Family is Like a Murder or something like that was his other book. I'm trying to find it. Everyone in My Family Has Killed Someone. And this book is supposed to be like a sequel to that. So I really like this book because it gives like Scream vibes, in the sense that as you're watching the movie Scream, they talk about what it takes to make a movie and the characters and how the story has to like be written. This is the same thing in book form, but because this type of thriller, and what I like about or mystery, is that I call it a fluffy mystery. Like, you're not gonna be like dun dun dun, like on the edge of your seat type thing, but it gives you, you know, those fluffy vibes that I like, and it's on a train, and I actually like books on a train. That was right there. Everybody in My Family Has Killed Someone. So this is supposed to be like the sequel to that book. And I definitely enjoyed it. I would definitely read more from him. And I actually did not notice that Stuart Turton, who wrote 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle, I really enjoyed that book. I didn't know he put a quote on here. Clever, satisfying, impossible to put down, and gloriously inventive. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. Books like this are why we love reading. So I definitely recommend this one. The little blurb: everyone on this train is a suspect. The debut writer, me, the forensic science writer, the blockbuster writer, the legal thriller writer, the literary writer, the psychological suspense writer. So that's a little blurb from the outside. There is more in the inside. They're basically taking this train ride, and it's this literary writing like event. And, you know, of course, they have people on the train that have nothing to do with this event, and then people who came to see these authors. And in that realm is where this murder takes place. It's an 1,800-mile ride. So somebody gets got on the train, and yeah, they basically are trying to figure out who the killer is before somebody else might get got on the train. Now, I will say, like, the book really kind of, when you find out who it is, I'm not gonna lie, I got low-key sad. I was like, dang, why? And then it got real gruesome. I was like, dang, why? And then it got crazy. So when you think this book is over, this book is not over. But it was good, and I enjoyed it. So definitely a read. I will read more from this book. I'm kind of trying to, from this author, but I'm kind of trying to figure out if I want to read the first one, even though this one is not a spoiler. And it's so funny because he talks about how not to spoil the book, but his agent is trying to tell him that you have to kind of put pieces in there to make people want to read the first one, because they are, even though it's a quote unquote sequel to the first book, they stand alone because they don't have anything to do with it. You'll see why they call it a sequel once you start reading it and you start getting the little, if you've read the first book, you will kind of know why, but why he's calling it a sequel, because it's like, are we really, yeah. So you'll get it, but it makes me want to read that because they didn't give too much away. They gave a little bit away, but I am kind of interested in reading that one and then seeing what else he has. The next one was called The Dead and the Dark. This one I did enjoy reading. This one I think is like a YA book, if I'm not mistaken. It's like a YA book. It was good. This one was good. It wasn't like my absolute favorite of all the books that I read. I'm trying to figure out if there was just a moment. I do think when you read this book, it is very, very crazy what people can get away with in small towns. And when you get to that particular scene, you're going to be like, are you effing kidding me? Like, how are we just going to, like, how are we not more alarmed? But anyway, it was a good book. It was definitely cool. I might, want to read something else by Courtney Gould. That's who wrote this book. Like, I think it was just okay. It wasn't horrible or anything, but it wasn't like my favorite. So basically, something is wrong in Snakebite, Oregon. Teenagers are disappearing, some turning up dead. The weather isn't normal, and all fingers point to TV's most popular ghost hunters who have just come to town. Logan Ortiz Woodley, daughter of TV's Paris Spectors, has never been to Snakebite before. But the moment she and her dads arrive, she starts to get the feeling that there's more than ghosts plaguing the small town. Ashley Barton's boyfriend was the first teen to go missing, and she's felt his ghost following her ever since. Although everyone shuns the Ortiz Woodleys, the mysterious Logan may be the only person who can help Ashley get some answers. When Ashley and Logan team up to figure out who or what is haunting Snakebite, their investigation reveals truths about the town, their families, and themselves that neither of them are ready for. As the danger intensifies, they realize that their growing feelings for each other could be a light in the darkness. Courtney Gould's thrilling debut is about the things that lurk in the dark corners, the parts of you that can't remain hidden, and finding home in places and people you didn't expect. So, okay, this is a debut novel. The Dark has been waiting, and it won't stay hidden any longer. So, The Dark, okay, I don't know if you're Disney fans, twitches. So, when you think of The Dark, think of that. You know, the darkness that they were talking about? That's kind of what this vibe gives, but definitely more spooky than twitches. I do think it was okay. I think once the book gets to like when the epiphany kind of happens, so I don't know. You know, maybe like in the last third, that's when it kind of picks up, and I think that made the book more interesting because things are happening and we're trying to get to like the bottom of this puzzle. But it was good. It was okay. Now, I read another book by my girl, T.Kingfisher, The Twisted Ones. I have read 2 of her books so far. One is What Moves the Day, which is still my favorite of hers. And the other one I read last month is called A House with Good Bones. I'm like, I can't read it. So, originally when I was reading this book, I thought this was going to be in the number 3 slot. Because this book, okay, has a manuscript that she finds that's pretty much gibberish. And not gibberish in the sense that you're trying to read it in another language, but gibberish just because it just does not make any sense. It makes sense once you get later in the book and the action starts to kick up, but when you're reading it, it's hard. And that was kind of taking me out of the book because, like, literally there'd be days that it just took me to get through those pages. But when you get past that, when you get, I don't know, I can't actually give you a scene because it's a big pivotal scene that starts stuff to happening. But once you get kind of past the gibberish and things happen, the book is really, really good. It went from number 3 because I was like, yeah, this is definitely my least favorite of her books. And it took A House with Good Bones out of its number 2 slot. So this book does get really good. It gets really creepy. And there is definitely an oh shit factor in this book because I'm just like, you can't be nice to everybody, because being nice like this girl, and it's so crazy because she actually says somewhere in the book, like, we're the type of people, if you ask for help, we're going to help you. And like, girl, that could be your downfall because sometimes you just need to let shit go. And it's funny, why she wasn't even the person she was trying to, you gotta read it. But anyway, when Mouse's dad asked her to clean out her dead grandmother's house, she says yes. After all, how bad could it be? Answer, pretty bad. Grandma was a hoarder and her house is packed to the gills with useless garbage. That would be horrors enough, but there is more. Mouse stumbles across her step-grandfather's journal, which at first seems to be the ravings of a broken mind. That's what was fighting me, y'all. Until she encounters some of the terrifying things he described herself. Alone in the woods with her dog, Mouse has to confront a series of impossible terrors because sometimes the things that go bump in the night are real and they're looking for you. And if she doesn't face them head on, she might not survive to tell the tale. So, characters in this book, I love me some, what is that lady's name? Skip was great. Foxy, I love her. Like, she makes the book freaking hilarious. So I will, when I'll say the book actually becomes a lot better is when, not necessarily when she initially meets Foxy, but I'll tell you this part because it's not a spoiler, but the day that Foxy comes and hangs out with her at the house, that is the day that's when the book starts to get spicy and just hilarious and more enjoyable. So there's Foxy, there's Skip, and what's the old boy's name? Oh my gosh. Foxy, Skip, and I just wanted more of them. What is his name? I know they're going to say his name close to the end. Tomas. Foxy, Skip, and Tomas. I absolutely love them. They're hilarious. So all of her books have like a comedic element to them. So they're like funny, horror, creepy. And they make this book so funny. Foxy is that girl. 60 plus. I don't know, like Foxy ain't a young thing. But she the person you want to have on your side when shit is going down, okay? Because Foxy is that girl. Skip is amazing. Tomas is amazing. And I will say this is another one of those books when you think it's over, it ain't over. So I definitely recommend this. Can't wait to read another one. I'm going to have to wait though. Because like I said, her books are creepy, funny. And I realized that I don't think it's just this one that kind of slows down. I feel like the reason What Moves the Dead never hit like a slow spot is because that book is like under 200 pages. So you kind of have to like, you don't have that many pages to be slow. And I feel like that one just moved. Like I finished it very quickly. Like I don't even think it's 150 pages. But with A House with Good Bones, that one kind of it like was good in the beginning. It kind of lulled and then it picked up. So these books are much longer. Like this one is 372 pages, almost 400 pages. So I think that's why she has more pages to play with. But if you can get through the lull, it's good. And like I said, I would recommend, if you read What Moves the Dead, I would recommend reading that one next. And the last one that I just finished today was probably, dare I say it, my favorite read of the month. And it is Just the Nicest Couple, Mary Kubica. Now, she has other books too, so I am definitely interested in reading some other books from her. But this book, page 1. We are already in the action, and I love that. Like, it starts from the beginning. You're reading this book, and I like the way people are introduced, because as you're going through and they're introducing characters, just pay attention. I was up in this book like a whole detective, okay? An entire detective. And I like the way they add other characters in. They tell you things because it's like making you think. But I'm going to tell you, once this book got to the end, I was just like, you lying to me. I didn't see the twist. I did not see the twist coming. And then on top of the twist that came, I didn't see the other twist. Like, this was another one of those books when you thought it was over. When you thought the story had unfolded. It didn't. This one I ain't got that many friends though, because you just don't know people. And the gotcha, it's bad when you got, anyway, Just the Nicest Couple. Let's read the back. Jake Hayes is missing. This much is certain. At first, his wife Nina thinks he's blowing off steam at a friend's house after their heated fight the night before. But then a day goes by, 2 days, 5, and Jake is still nowhere to be found. Lily Scott, Nina's friend and co-worker, thinks she may have been the last to see Jake before he went missing. After Lily confesses everything to her husband, Christian, and to decide that nobody can find out what happened leading up to Jake's disappearance, especially not Nina. But Nina is out there looking for her husband, and she won't stop until the truth is discovered. So let me say this. I find it interesting, the lengths that people will go through to try to keep themselves out of trouble, but then not think of how, like, if you don't do all of that, you're probably going to be better off. Number one. Number two, when it gets to the end, like literally the last page, y'all going to be like, you got to be playing with me. Because just like, why? Just why? And then in addition to that, like, sometimes if you in the middle of something and you think something's fishy going on, why are you showing all your cards? I'm just like, y'all make things harder. I mean, it did make the book better, but y'all make things harder on yourselves. But I definitely enjoy this book. Like I said, it starts from page 1. It goes back and forth between the perspectives of Christian and Nina. Christian being Lily's husband, the one who saw Nina's husband last, and of course Nina being the wife of the missing man. Definitely liked it. Like I said, I did not see the ending coming, and when you think it's over, it went over. Child, it was not over. But those are my books for the month. So I hope you guys enjoyed this wrap up. If you've read any of these, let me know. Let me know your thoughts, especially if you've read Where You In, because I really want to know if that person is actually dead. So definitely stay tuned. Got a lot of great things coming this month. We got some spring clothing hauls, because y'all know I'm a purge, but I'm a fill the hangers back up. So we have that. We have another big, huge book haul. Some other book things. Summer is coming, so hopefully we will have some travel coming up. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this month's reads. I am already getting started on the next one to start off the April read. So for those of you who are new, thank you so much for stopping by. Hope you enjoyed this video. Stick around, join the family for those of you who are returning. Oh, and my name is Sarah, for you new people. For those of you who are returning, thank you so much for coming back and just hanging out with me. Thank you, thank you. See you guys in the next one.